Now, in most video games, you play as the hero who saves the day. Some of them might even actually give you the option to do bad things, but in the end, you still have to fight the main villain and fulfill your destiny. But there are some rare cases of games that actually let you join the baddies, although the consequences of doing so are usually short-lived and result in the bad ending. But you know what? There's exceptions to the exceptions, and so we're here to talk about today about video games that let you be the baddie, and it actually turned out to be the best option too. So let's have a chat. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 video game villains you can secretly join and be better off. Number 10. The Crimson Fleet, Starfield. Starfield, like most Bethesda games, lets the player join a variety of factions. Among them is the Crimson Fleet, a gang of dangerous space pirates who terrorize the galaxy in search of profits and thrills, both of which are for you to enjoy in great quantities if you decide to enroll in their ranks. That's right, although they're horrible, horrible people, the Crimson Fleet is a joinable faction, and they're easily the best one as well. In terms of the narrative, their main mission is the most engaging experience, where you play as a double agent infiltrating their ranks for the United Colonists, whom you can then betray to become a triple agent. In terms of gameplay and rewards, the fleet offers a much wider range of activities and money-earning jobs compared to other factions, ensuring that you'll never get bored of working for them. And yes, you do have to rob and murder a lot of innocent people in the process, but if you don't care too much about that, the Space Raiders are definitely the best of the best. Oh, and did I mention that joining the fleet turns half of the game friendly against you because most Raider outposts belong to them? So yeah, best faction ever. Number 9. Gaunter O'Dimm, The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3's Heart of Stone DLC has you settle a dispute between a demon named Gaunter O'Dimm and his poor debtor, Olgerd, who wagered his soul in exchange for power. Throughout the story, you learn how Gaunter's gifts to old Ollie here are not all they're cracked up to be, and that now he's rightfully regretful of making the deal with the actual devil. I mean, who would have thought, right? Despite his lack of foresight, however, the man is still a sympathetic character, and since working with Gaunter means allowing him to consume his soul, the right thing to do seems to be opposing the demon and freeing his soon-to-be snack from his evil contract. This said, siding with Gaunter is objectively more beneficial. Not only does supporting the Soul Eater let you avoid fighting him, but he'll also reward you with a powerful artifact of your choice or a heapload of gold. In contrast, the only reward for helping old Ollie here is his sword, which is quickly outscaled by most other endgame items. And yes, you have to sell a man's soul to get Gaunter's gifts, but then again, he kind of has it coming for dealing with an evil demon to begin with, right? Number 8. Bhelen, Dragon Age Origins. In Dragon Age Origins, you have to assemble an army from factions from all over the world, and one of these factions that you need to ally with are the Dwarves of Ozama. In order to recruit the Dwarves, you need to help them elect a new king. Your options are a noble lord named Lord Harrowmont and Prince Bhelen, the late king's least favourite son who secretly murdered his own father along with every other competitor to the throne. If you started the game as the dwarf noble, Bhelen is basically your arch nemesis. First, he kills your entire family and then blames you for the crimes that he committed, dooming you to exile into the darkspawn-infested caverns. When you finally get the chance to return to your home, the first thing on your to-do list is likely to give him a good old bashing. However, although Bhelen is still a schemer who works with criminals to get his way, he secretly is the better candidate for the throne. His policies aim to improve the lives of castless dwarves, and if you help him win, in the epilogue the game talks about how he actually follows through on his promises, whereas the elected Harrowmont turns out to be weak and a rather spineless leader. Bhelen may be a backstabbing bastard, but he's a backstabbing bastard with a big heart. Number 7. The Dark Brotherhood, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. In The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, you are the last Dragonborn, the prophesized hero whose destiny it is to save Tamriel from a literal world-eating dragon. However, what you do in your free time is down to you, and if it happens to be working part-time as an occult assassin, so be it. In fact, you really should do it, since being an assassin gives you pretty much the best rewards in the game. One of the joinable guilds in the game is the Dark Brotherhood, a mysterious organization of hired killers who enter their contracts in the name of their dark patron, Sithis. Although you get the option to destroy the Brotherhood by reporting them to Imperial spies, sticking by the assassins and climbing up their ranks is one of the most rewarding experiences in the game. The guild has arguably the most amount of perks out of any of Skyrim's other factions, and you get a custom armor set, unique spells, weapons, and even a personal hideout and a mount, just to name a few. In fact, the Brotherhood gear has the best buffs for improving your assassination skills, making it essential if you're doing a stealth-focused build. And all you have to do is kill a bunch of people. Pretty neat, right? Number 6. Arasaka, Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 is truly a depressing experience. On top of its bleak dystopian setting, its story is essentially just a breakdown of how your character dies due to the relic chip in their brain. However, although most endings in the game conclude with V doomed to expire within an agonizing 6 months, there is one ending where the soul killer virus in their head is completely eliminated, and that is the Arasaka ending. The despotic corporation allows you to enter its ranks if you manage to do all the missions with Goro and agree to finish the final mission on the side of Arasaka. Despite being the overarching antagonists of the entire game and the reason why V ends up with the virus in the first place, joining them is, ironically, the only way to save V from having their psyche slowly and painfully overridden by Johnny's. The corporation removes the chip from your head and you get to sign a contract that will transfer your soul into Mikoshi to preserve it. And yes, it means that the corporation ends up owning you, making you their property, but if survival is your goal, then Arasaka is the only side that can give you that. Number 5. Maximilian Strauss, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. As you might be able to tell by the game's name, the world of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is occupied by shadowy vampiric organizations that seek to control and exploit humanity. Of these organizations, the biggest one is arguably the Camarilla, an oppressive sect where every new vampire has to play by the rules and whimsy of their elders, which you're forced to work for, only to be then betrayed by it later. However, just because they betray you, it doesn't mean that you can't go back. Yes, although at the end of the game, the Prince of Camarilla turns against you, it is still possible for you to support this sect and help it take over Los Angeles with the help of one of its members, Strauss. If you filled a number of morally dubious tasks for Strauss, such as killing his runaway gargoyle slave, in the finale your character will be able to visit him and devise a plan to eliminate the prince. Doing so will unlock a special ending where Strauss takes over the sect and lets you be his right-hand vamp as this new vampire organization dominates the city. Not a bad way to spend an eternity, right? Number 4. The Dark Side, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic tells the classic tale of the endless war between the light and the dark side, but this time from a rather interesting perspective. Instead of making you join the Jedi good guys by default, the game actually allows you to experiment with both sides and then pick which one you wish to support. Now, you'd think that the Force would be a balanced power, like all Star Wars media suggests, but in reality, one side is objectively stronger than the other. Let's just say, it ain't the light one. The dark side in the Knights of the Old Republic video game gives the player access to powers that some would consider unnatural. The lightning strike abilities that it provides, as well as items with ludicrous strength modifiers for melee builds, allow you to create the most powerful damage dealing classes in the game. So much so that even encounters that would take a regular Jedi player multiple times to complete become a brisk walk in the park. Of course, you have to do a lot of dastardly mustache twirling evil things to unlock them, but this typically means having even more test subjects to test out your incredible powers on. Number 3. The Institute, Fallout 4. The Institute is the reclusive collective of scientists from Fallout 4 who act as the primary antagonists of the game. Known as the boogeymen of the Commonwealth, the Institute is a menace that terrorizes the Wasteland's residents by conducting dangerous experiments, replacing their loved ones with synth spies, and even destroying entire towns just so that they can get their hands on some pre-war scrap. However, for all the fear and paranoia surrounding their organization, the Institute and its superior technology do seem like the best hope for improving the situation in Boston. At the very least, they are definitely the best choice for improving your own situation. After you learn that the Institute is run by your missing son Sean, you get the option to join the organization, granting you access to their advanced technologies such as their teleporter and all the other powerful toys that lie around their facilities. To make things better, if you stick by the organization till the end, you get to become its head director, meaning that you can take charge and use their technological supremacy however you want. Whether it's helping people or helping yourself, it's your choice. Number 2. The Cult of the Absolute, Baldur's Gate 3. The Cult of the Absolute is Baldur's Gate 3's new major threat in the world. It's a religious organization that secretly uses mind flare parasites to brainwash its followers and ultimately transform them into the perfect obedient army of tentacled monsters. Throughout the entire story, your character has to fight this cult in order to find a cure for their own brain parasite, but the option to join the cult is always on the table as well. In fact, finding your place among its leaders can also yield some pretty great benefits. Thanks to the protection of Shadowheart's mysterious artifact, your party is safe from the influence that the parasite should have on their minds. This means that you can infiltrate the cult without any risks of indoctrination and use your conscious mind to exploit the beguiled members, gaining new unique items, allies, and even more brain parasites that can turn the little guy in your brain into a powerful psychic weapon. Keeping close to the cult is the best way to get the most out of this game, and if you stick with them until the finale, you can even take it over, taking charge of its vast armies and dominating the world. And number 1, Symbiote, Spider-Man Web of Shadows. Spider-Man Web of Shadows is an action game featuring your favourite friendly neighbourhood superhero in not-so-friendly circumstances. The main story focuses heavily on Peter Parker's relationship with the new Venom symbiote. You get to decide if you want Spidey to use the powers of the alien but risk falling to its influence, or you can choose to refuse them and deal with the trouble ahead on your own. Now, no one wants to see their childhood hero get corrupted by the forces of evil, but if you do choose to side with the parasite, the powers it provides very quickly turn out to be completely overpowered and downright broken. Whereas the regular red suit gameplay provides a challenging and balanced experience, the black suit unlocks attacks that are so powerful you can just spam them carelessly and watch every enemy fold in an instant. As a bonus, the evil Spider-Man route features an interesting what-if scenario, where, in the end, Peter Parker gets to use these new powers to turn all the heroes into obedient super soldiers and becomes the leader of a new symbiote-infused New York City. Oh, and you get to date Black Cat. I mean, that one thing alone would probably convince most people to join the side of evil immediately. There we go.